So a lot of people, when they buy a new lens, they always assume that they need to shoot at its widest aperture. So let's say you buy a lens that has a maximum aperture of f4, then every picture you shoot needs to be at f4. This lens is an f4, then I shall shoot at f4. This lens is an f1.8. Probably should shoot at f1.8. I have a kit lens!
Shut up, Billy! Nobody likes you, Billy! You suck!
Reason number 1, sharpness. So most lenses are actually softer when they're shot at their widest aperture. So let's say I take this 15mm lens for example, although it's already pretty sharp at f1.8, if you stop it down at f2.8, it's like substantially sharper. And if you stop it down at f4, it's like dangerously sharp. Like you could cut your finger sharp. Another thing that you also fix when you stop down your lens is chromatic aberration. When you're shooting wide open, most lenses actually have a lot of chromatic aberration, but when you stop it down, most of that chromatic aberration goes away. If you look at this picture, for example, when it was shot at f1.8, you can see a lot of purple fringing in the white spots there, but if I use the f4 version, you're going to realize that the purple fringing is much more controlled. Reason number 2 is deeper depth of field. So one of the greatest appeal of shooting wide open is bokeh. People just like blurry backgrounds, as it's just an easy way to isolate a subject. Now what a lot of people don't take into consideration is that the closer you get to your subject, the more bokeh you actually get. So actually, if you're too close to your subject, you'll have too much bokeh. I bet you didn't thought that would be a thing, right? So your depth of field will be so thin that literally everything will be blurry. Now an easy way to fix this is, well, you guessed it, stopping down your lens. I usually like to shoot at f5.6 when I get closer to a subject, but depending on the minimum focus distance and the focal length that you're using will really depend on what aperture you should be using. You might also be in a situation in which you actually want more of the image in focus. Most product photographers actually shoot their products at f8 because they want more of the product in focus. This is why I decided in this shot to shoot at f5.6 instead, as now I could get more of the shoe in focus. Reason number 3 is exposure time. So aperture doesn't just affect the blurry background in your images, it also affects the exposure as a whole. This may have happened to you before when you bring your favorite prime lens outside, it's a bright sunny day, and next thing you know your shutter speed is capped. So now because of that, every photo that you shoot is overexposed. Now it might not be hard to guess, but the fix to that is just stopping down your lens a bit. A second way to use this is with long exposures. In this image, I shot it at f6.3 because I wanted a longer exposure time for the car when it would run by. And because the subject was far away, bokeh was really irrelevant at this point. So, conclusion. I think it's safe to say now that there are many reasons as to why you would want to shoot an aperture higher than your maximum aperture. You can control the sharpness of your lens and how well it controls chromatic aberration. You can control how deep a depth of field you want. And you can also control how long of an exposure time you want. With that being said, I'm not saying that you should never shoot your lenses wide open. There are many reasons as to why people like to shoot wide open, as you get a better blurry background and you get better exposure values. But the real takeaway of this video is really just to give you more tools in your arsenal to get better imagery. Sharpness. Most lenses actually are softer when they're at the wide.
Hey, Billy! You suck!
Last video I noticed I had paint in my hair. I'm showing you my first paint in my hair.